I didn't see you there. As you can see, I'm just out here in the field playing the new hit game that all the kids are raving about. I think it's called Mario Golf. From what I understand, it's where you go out and play golf while dressed as your favorite Mario character. As you can clearly see, I am dressed as Yoshi, which is just normal clothes because Nintendo didn't feel the need to give Yoshi a special outfit.
Mario Golf kinda came out of nowhere. Following its big reveal in February 2021, there were a lot of questions, like how do all the new game modes work? Why bring back this franchise? Who is Wario's fashion designer? Why doesn't Yoshi get any clothes? Sorry, I'm still a bit hung up on that, but the point is, the game came out of left field. But that's not a bad thing, because it also brought a ton of hype. People have been really excited to get their hands on this game. Hell, I had to wait extra time to get my copy because my entire town was sold out. That's gotta say something, right? But is the game good? Is the game worth all of that hype? Can you get customizable outfits for Yoshi? Let's talk about it. Before we begin, if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe for more content like this, and let me know in the comments if there are any games you'd like to see me talk about in the future. Now, let's tee up and play some Mario Golf Super Rush. Mario Golf is a surprisingly long-running series dating all the way back to the NES with its first installment, NES Open Golf Tournament, or Mario Open Golf as it's known in Japan. It was then followed by Mario Golf for the N64, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour for the GameCube, Mario Golf Advanced Tour for the GBA, and Mario Golf World Tour for the 3DS. And then finally, we got Mario Golf Super Rush for the Nintendo Switch. And for those of you keeping track at home, that makes this the 6th entry in the series, making it the second longest running Mario Sports series following Mario Tennis. For the most part, the Mario Golf series is just your average golfing game with a Mario theme. Later entries added a bit more story, but other than that, it just stuck to its golfing roots. That is until the Super Rush Nation attacked. In Super Rush, they decided to introduce a whole bunch of new game modes and playstyles, some for better, and some for worse, but I'll touch on those later. For now, let's just talk about your standard golfing experience. The most basic mode in Mario Golf is known as Standard, duh, and it serves as the entry point for the game. The goal is pretty simple. Get your ball in the hole and as few hits as possible. But how do you do that, you might ask? Well, don't worry, Papa Triceratops is going to teach you.
You swing and you hit it.
Okay, there's a bit more to it than that. The game features a whole bunch of nifty tools that help you make the perfect shot. You have your power gauge, which shows you how hard you're going to hit, and then you have the ability to add a curve to your shot to make it go to the right direction. You can also use handy skills like topspin and backspin to make your ball roll further or less after it lands. Each of the characters also have slightly different ability scores as well. Some have better power but less handling, or the ability to put more spin on the ball. There's a lot of variety, so it's best to find the one that suits your playstyle. The game's controls are pretty simple. You can play with your standard Joy-Con or with the Pro Controller like I do. Or you can play with motion controls, and that makes the game a whole lot harder. It's incredibly hard to find the right balance of strength while swinging. Plus, finding the best curve is a bit of a toss-up. So, while the motion controls aren't necessarily bad, I wouldn't use them except for maybe to have a bit of fun. When you first start the game, there isn't a ton unlocked. You have all the characters and you have your quick play golf selection, but most of the courses are locked off, and that's because this game has a story mode, which you have to play in order to unlock most of the stuff. And trust me, from experience, it's kind of a pain in the butt. In theory, Adventure Mode as it's called, is a good idea. It teaches you how to play the game, the different kinds of shots and clubs, how to deal with elevation and winds as well as weather conditions. It's a great entry point, but the learning curve is pretty steep, especially once you finish the first area and are thrown into the deep end of cross-country golf. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You start with the game's most frequent modes, Standard and Speed Golf. Standard Golf has you hitting the ball and teleporting to your next shot. Super quick and really easy to learn, but sometimes a little tricky to master. Then there's Speed Golf, which is like Standard Golf, but with a heck of a lot more running. Because in Mario Land, they don't use golf carts. Instead, you have to chase down your ball, while on a time limit, and fighting against other characters who are trying to achieve the same goal. It can get a little bit hectic, especially with super shots and dashes. Each character has their own super shot, which has some sort of effect on impact, such as blasting away a ball or haunting a ball with booze. You know, standard stuff. Then there are dashes, which let you run faster and knock your opponents out of the way, briefly stunning them. But you do need to be tactical about when you use these abilities, because you have a stamina meter and a special meter. The stamina meter recharges over time, while the super meter uses coins, which you can collect on the course to refill. All in all, it's not a very complicated game, but it does take some time to get good at it, which raises a bit of a problem. If Nintendo wanted to design a game for people to play as a group, they should have made it easier. I've been playing quite a bit of this game recently, both for fun and to make this video, and so I've gotten decently good at the game. But if I wanted to play the game with my friends, there wouldn't be much of a contest because I've had so much more practice with it. It's almost similar in this sense to Super Smash Bros., where it's fun to play if either A, everyone sucks, or B, everyone is good, because if you get that mix of skill levels, it just becomes a miserable experience. I've had my ass kicked too many times in Smash by people who play the game constantly. It really just becomes a game of how quickly I can lose. And so Mario Golf faces that same issue. A much better Nintendo party game would be something like Mario Party, which is really easy to hop into, and all the rules are explained before every minigame, so there's not as much skill involved. Now, I get combining golf and ease of access isn't really an easy task. In fact, it may be a damn near impossible one. But I've got some ideas for how to make the game better, but I'll touch on those at the end of the video. For now, let's get back to Adventure Mode. Adventure Mode works on a badge system, where you complete certain tasks and your badge gets upgraded and allows you to unlock new courses, both in Adventure Mode and in Free Play. But after the first area, the game walks you straight into a cliff, both metaphorically and literally. You are forced to play cross-country golf, which I mentioned earlier. And boy, does it suck. Cross-country golf is a game mode where you are put onto a course with all of the holes available. You're given a certain number of strokes, I think 40 is the amount for the challenge, and you have to get to every hole within those strokes or you lose. Now, just from that description, doesn't seem all that bad, but then you realize that this involves hitting the ball up and down cliffs to get to each of the holes. Hitting a ball down is pretty easy, but getting the ball up the cliff is an actual nightmare. You have to either get a shot with a high enough arch to make it up, or you need to hit the ball into a handy tornado which will launch it into the air, and if you're lucky, place it on the cliff face above. The major problem with this is that the game throws this at you way too early. At this point in the game, you haven't unlocked the lob shot, which is a shot that lets you hit the ball really high with a short distance, and it would be absolutely perfect for cross-country golf. Too bad you don't learn about this ability until like the 4th area of the game, so instead you have to use the tornadoes and hope they work out in your favor. Beating this mode just once took me around 15 tries. Most of the time I would be just a few strokes short of the last hole, and then I'd have to go all the way back and restart from the beginning. Like I said, nightmare. It's an excruciating trial in patience and practice, but it's really not worthwhile because this game mode never comes up again, and you can only play it in adventure mode. But of course, like I said, you have to do it to unlock all the maps, so have fun. The rest of adventure mode is pretty standard. You do unlock better courses, my personal favorite being Wild Weather Woods, which is a course full of strong winds and rain, but I like the vibes. Now there's still one game mode I haven't touched on, and that is Battle Golf, which is definitely supposed to be the crowd pleaser kind of mode. It's quick and fun, and honestly would be a pretty good party game. Battle Golf takes place in an arena designed for either technical skill or tactical skill, which either means hills or no hills. And it's pretty much just a hectic race to see who can get 3 holes the fastest out of 9 total on the map. Unlike cross-country golf, however, it doesn't suck, and the map is easily traversable. The main strategy is to either go fast, or constantly screw over the other players using skill shots and bob-bombs, which conveniently spawn on the map. There are also random events which can occur, which can be turned on or off. Things like ice patches spawning on the floor, or making bob-bombs rain from the sky. It really adds to the fun nature of it, and honestly it reminds me a lot of a minigame from Mario Party if it were just turned into a bigger thing. It also happens to be really quick, only taking about 2 to 3 minutes total per match, so it would be perfect for a party environment. It also features the least learning curve and has the most accessibility for new players. Overall, Mario Golf Super Rush is without a doubt a fun game. It's well put together. I mean, I haven't run into any glitches yet, although admittedly, I haven't been searching for glitches. I usually leave that up to the speedrunners. It's the kind of game that you want to sit down and feel like you're improving at over time. The game does a really good job of teaching you skills and then challenging those skills, and there are a lot of challenges. And that's not inherently a bad thing. I mean, challenges can be good, but I don't think that Nintendo had that in mind with this game. From the way they hyped up the game before release, and from all the trailers and press material, it really seems like Nintendo wanted to make a new game that you can play with your friends. And while you can definitely play it with your friends, issues will inevitably arise from differences in practice and skill. There are ways to mitigate this, however, but Nintendo didn't implement them. The game could use some accessibility settings, maybe allowing players to turn off wind or to ignore slight slopes and things like that. Those are just two small things that could help cut down on the skill difference between casual players who just want to have a good time and those who want to compete. The game does a fairly good job selecting the best golf club for you, which is appreciated, but I do wish they also better explained what each club is for. You hear a lot about drivers and wedges and putters, but they never really touch on the differences between, say, a 9-iron and a 6-iron, or irons and woods in general. Small tooltips, preferably unobtrusive ones, could really help make the game new user-friendly, thus allowing Nintendo to fulfill their goal of making a fun party game. My hope is that the game gets some updates and maybe some DLC. It does feel a little bit small right now, but as a packaged product, I think they did a solid job putting together what may be one of the strangest combos in video game history. Scratch that. This exists.
Mario Golf Super Rush may not be for everyone, but I have had a ton of fun playing it. And if it's your kind of game, you will most likely have no problems with it either. Now, I've got some practice to do, so I'm gonna go get back to work, but I hope to see you soon out on the fairway. Peace out, everyone. Catch you on the flip side.